This is part 13 of our 100% walkthrough for Link to the Past, and this part will be going through the third dungeon of the game, Moonlit Grotto, which to me really sounds kind of like a romantic getaway rather than it does a Zelda dungeon.
It really does. It sounds like somewhere that should be like peaceful, but no, that is not the case in this dungeon.
No, it's not. And one thing I love, like kind of right off the bat, is the Pole's voices that we see right here. And one thing that was really cool is we went back to the original Zelda and kind of killed them in the same way. Now we kind of see that throughout the Zelda series, but I just always kind of like that flashback to the original Zelda.
I really do too. It's just a nice throwback, and just it was such a pain in the original Zelda because it was something like on the Famicom, your second remote had to be, it had to pick up the sound on the second remote microphone. It was so weird. So having this, I thought was just using the harp was a really cool idea.
Yeah. And one thing, like you'll notice, well, you won't notice, but like the ground right here, like it's kind of got that color that makes it sort of look like a desert dungeon. So, I mean, all these dungeons really are kind of similar. You can't really decipher or make a difference between them, but I kind of did like the floor right there. It made it seem to me like a little bit of a desert dungeon, which we always really like those dungeons.
Well, I think it also kind of goes along with the fact that this was like on the beach of Crescent Island. So maybe it's,
that's a good point, actually.
So that sand, and then we also see some like the green bushes and stuff like that. So between like the sand color along with the greens, it's kind of a nice combo.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. Like, I'm just so glad that we're not on Crescent Island anymore, though, because I was so. As you heard in our last two parts, we got so sick of that place and getting our items. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just glad to be off that place and not dealing with it anymore. So, but you know what? I really do like this puzzle right here. I remember the first time this taking me a while because it was just one of those times where I forgot that I could actually push blocks, like a simple mechanic in Zelda that sometimes like you just forget about.
Plus the concept of destroying these 3 or 4, I should say, like crystals or whatever they are.
Yeah, I like that.
It collapses part of the tower or part of the dungeon, and that's a really cool throwback to Eagle's Tower.
Eagle's Tower, I knew you were going to say that one.
Yeah, from Link's Awakening. So I thought that was a really cool throwback.
But we don't get like a cool, like, well, you'll see it later on in the dungeon, but we really don't get like a cool cinematic that goes along with it. Like, you hit these and like it makes it seem like something's falling, but it really never shows it to you. And I kind of wish they would have had some kind of like visualization like that in this this dungeon.
Well, plus because we never really go to that lower level or whatever until we collapse it. So here in our recording, you're not really going to see what it looks like before we collapse it. Or I guess we kind of do a little bit, don't we?
I guess. I don't remember exactly where we do it, but
it's been a while since I've actually played this, so it's a little confusing.
Dude, like I was preparing today, and I was like, it's been so long since I recorded this game, like this early on in the game. I was like, man, I do not remember anything at all about this dungeon, but one thing I really do like is having that Moldorm right there in a contained area. Like, we really needed that in the Tower of Hera.
Yeah, I know, right? Because that guy is a pain. One thing I really hate about this dungeon, though, you saw it a minute or so ago, that revolving like circle that controls like which directions you can go in that like 4-way room. Because of that, we have to do so much circling back around, and it gets really annoying a little later in this dungeon.
One thing, like you go there, like it just would be nice if you could go back up and kind of like, change the directions, like, quickly. And we get that in a dungeon later on, but like you said, kind of that circling back around. We never like backtracking, but just sometimes that circling around can take a while, and just to like go a different direction. I'm with you. It's very upsetting, but it kind of goes along with this game being kind of more of a puzzle game than like Oracle of Seasons, which I believe is maybe more combat. I'm not really positive on that one.
I haven't played Seasons yet, so
I guess that's a good point though. But you'll see right there that kind of ran into that bomb. I actually did that on purpose because I didn't go back and look at this, but I think the only way that you can actually kill them is with bombs.
I think so, yeah.
And I think our carrying capacity right now is like 10, so I wanted to make sure like I hit him. And the easiest way I found it is just to actually run into him right as your bomb is about to explode.
Hey, it worked. A little later on, we're going to be in a room with like 4 of them, and it's a little bit tougher when you're only carrying 10 bombs and they keep moving around. So, and you'll see that a little later on. That
I remember when I got you, I was like, man, this like there's a couple nerve-wracking parts when you're recording that you really can't screw up, and that was like one of those moments where I knew I couldn't screw up that much. So,
but you try to do that. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. I was saying, at least a lot of these bushes
you tried it. Well, go ahead. We'll figure it out here sooner or later which person's actually going.
Let's say at least a lot of these like bushes and enemies do drop bombs, so that does make it a little easier. You can usually reload pretty easily, but it's still annoying if you run out.
I mean, you see us right now. I mean, we've probably been in a couple rooms 2 or 3 times. I mean, it's just like a lot of circling around this dungeon.
Yeah.
I remember it not being a very big dungeon. It's just, like I said, you circle around, you kind of see the same things and just... But like I said, I will give it what it is. It, like me, the dungeons in this game, it is a good puzzle dungeon.
It is.
Which is why I don't like Oracle of Ages. It's too frustrating.
Hey, solving puzzles has never been our strong suit when it comes to Zelda games. We turn to the internet from time to time.
We're combat. Like, we just give some combat. Just let's go around killing things. That's that's all we need to do. But here's the room right here you're talking about with those 4 Armos with only 10 bombs. This was a difficult room.
It was, and you did a pretty good job with it. We had a few misses, but when they just keep moving in generally random directions, it is really tough to like actually get. And it looked like you hit that one and it didn't kill him. So it's just
Yeah, I got pretty close. And, like, I ran into that one earlier, but that was only 1 Armos. Like, if I start running to all these Armos, I mean, that's going to take, I don't know how much health they take. That's going to take quite a bit of my health, so I just was like, well, I can do it in that one room. But I can't really do it in that room right there. But, you know what, I got through it without... using all my bombs, so it was a success.
Well, that bomb throw you had that killed 2 of them at one time was a heck of a throw. I'll give you props for that.
Yeah, that was strictly luck. I did not plan that because you never know which way they were going to go.
See, here I tried to give you some credit.
Sporadic and stuff, so I kind of just had to guess.
Hey, it worked, so.
Yeah, I did. And, like, what stinks is when I was recording, I was like, if I screwed this up, I actually had to redo the whole recording based on that one room right there because you got to go out.
Yeah.
And I don't remember where to get bombs, but you have to go almost like to the beginning of the dungeon or somewhere back in some other rooms to get bombs even.
It's enough to make it a pain in the neck. And I know these dungeons aren't as long as like the 3D Zelda game dungeons, but still, anytime you have to restart a recording when you're already a few minutes into it, it's a pain in the neck getting everything set up, getting to where you were and everything. So we try to avoid restarting if we can avoid it.
Well, I know later on in the game, like there's some dungeons that are like almost 30 minutes long, and that kind of rivals some of the 3D dungeons. Now, some of the 3D dungeons are usually like around 45 minutes or so, but I think for a 2D game, this game has some longer dungeons compared to like Minish Cap. Definitely Link's Awakening.
Oh, how about Jadu's Belly a little later on in this one?
Yeah, that's it. Well, we don't need to ruin talk of that dungeon already because that dungeon's horrible. I actually just recorded the last dungeon. That one was terrible, so it's just a tough game.
It really is. But, it's a challenge, and that's one thing we like about the Zelda games, especially some of these 2D ones, and we like the challenge.
But anyways, Red, this is actually going to go ahead and wrap up part 13 of our 100% walkthrough for Oracle of Ages.